Good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And P.I.L.L Method stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount at leverage and liquidity. And we are live on YouTube. So we're shutting this part down. So come on over to YouTube. You have the links there. Please do that. See you in a few. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a great and fantastic show today. If you want to listen, I've been doing this, teaching people how to borrow money at a discount for years. And today we're going to be talking about how to increase your leverage, how to make more money in real estate by understanding how to borrow money at a discount. So let's jump right in and understanding how we make money through real estate. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm learning the real estate investment part myself. I have clients that are real estate investors, but I want to know more about it. So I'm listening to a guy named Otis. All right. And Otis is telling me about 4 things I need to consider when getting into real estate. Okay. So Otis is saying, let me get my notes here, and let's see. Otis, his name is Otis James. Okay. And if you haven't heard of him, he's on Clubhouse, and you might want to catch some of his information there. But he says 4 things you need to consider when getting into real estate. How much does it cost? How much does it cost to fix up? Okay. What is it worth when you're done fixing it up? And how much income can it generate? And real estate investors, successful real estate investors, have been doing this for a while. Okay. They understand that the whole idea is to buy it right, fix it up right, and rent it right so that you can develop cash flow. So let's get into it. So if you have some questions around that, please do. We have some information. We posted the link at the top of the page and the top of the comment section. So please, you can type in your question or come to the stage, click that link, follow the instructions, and you'll be in here with us so that we can get you on stage with us so that you can ask your questions. So Colleen was in here just a little bit ago. So Colleen, I hope you can hear me. Come on in if you are here. All right. So let's talk about this. So what we're going to show now, I'm not going to show anything right now. I just want to talk to you about an idea. Let's say we want to buy a property. All right. Let's say we're going to buy a property, and I got my notes here. All right. And I'll take some information from you guys on what to do. Let's say this property is worth, I can buy this property at $50,000. I can buy this property at $50,000. Okay. And now, what are the different ways I can get into the property at $50,000? Do I have to come up with 50 grand cash? Well, I would prefer not to. What if I could get this property? Let's say the seller is highly motivated. All right. And I can get this property with, let's say $5,000 down. I can get it for $5,000 down. All right. And it's going to cost me $60,000 to fix it up. Okay. $60,000 to fix it up. Now, what if the property is in such a shape that I could get a hard money lender to lend me the $60,000? All right. I've got a $50,000 property. I got $5,000 into it. It's going to take $60,000 to fix up, but it's going to be worth, because of where it is, the ARV or what is it going to be worth when it's done after repair value, after repair value, ARV. All right. Let's just say that this thing is going to be worth 175,000 after it's fixed up. All right. And what do I have into it? I got 5,000 of my own money into it. All right. Um, you're right. I got $175,000 into it. All right. Let's say that if I got 175, I've got $5,000 into it. I got $60,000 now. So you want to take some notes here. All right. And I'm going to, so the investor says, yeah, that's going to be worth it to me. I'm going to lend you the $60,000. All right. So we get the thing repaired. It's all repaired. It's all done. Now it's worth $175,000. Okay. So now I go to my bank. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. I can rent this thing out now because of where it is. I can rent it for $1,900 a month. $1,900 a month. I can rent it for that. Great. All right. So now that I can rent it for it's worth 175,000. All right. So I'm going to go to the bank now and say, listen, I need some money. I want to put my property up that's worth 175,000. I want to put it up for as collateral. 175,000. All right, let's see, 175,000 times 80%. All right, times 80% equals, I want to borrow 140,000. Okay, I want to borrow 140,000, borrow 140,000. All right, delete at 6.5%, 30 years. All right, it's now, this is my payment. All right, you want to see this. My payment on this now is $884 a month. $884 a month, and I'm renting it for $1,900 a month. All right, so let's see what our cash flow is. What is our cash flow? All right, so our cash flow, I've got $1,900 coming in. My payment on that is $884.90. So I'm going to subtract 884.90. All right. So my cash flow is a little over $1,000. Okay. $1,015. So that's pretty good. So now I have my money. All right. I borrowed 140,000. Now I can pay back. I can pay back the hard money lender plus the interest that they want. All right. And I've got my $5,000 back. And so we're good. Now I've got this money. Now I'm making $1,000. Let's just round it off to $1,000 a month. So I got $1,000 a month coming in 12 months. Shoot, $12,000. So we're making pretty good money. I'm paying back the loan. All right. And when the tenant gives me that cash, well, I'm doing pretty doggone good. But as far as real estate investors go, ladies and gentlemen, that's usually where it stops. I want to show you something that most people do not worry about. They're looking at their $12,000 a month coming in, a year coming in, which is pretty doggone good. But now we got to pay taxes on it. So now they're looking at, how can I situate myself so I can pay fewer taxes on the money that I'm making? Do you know there are a multitude of tax strategies. So you don't have to, so that you don't have to give away all of your money in taxes, 50% of your money in taxes. There are things you can do to save money on your taxes so that you can keep more of the money you make. Let me ask you right now, everybody that's in here listening to me, okay? All right. So now we're looking at taxes. And so I just want to say that, yeah, you want to do what you can to save money on taxes. But do you realize that you're going to pay far more money in interest on your loans, on your properties, than you'll ever pay in taxes? And I want to ask you all a question. Has anybody ever talked to you about strategies to save interest? Now, we talk about making 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% cash on cash return. Okay. And the highest I've ever really talked about is 20%. I've heard about 20% cash on cash return. And it says, now, why worry about how much we're paying on the debt? Because I'm making $1,000 a month. That's why I got into this. Cash flow, Don. It's cash flow that's important. It's cash flow that's king. And I listen, I don't disagree that cash flow is very important. And I've got a question here from J. Pat. It says, what about combining the snowball and IUL? All right. Well, those are definite strategies. And I wish I had a little bit more information about where you wanted to go with that so that I can actually comment on it. So, Jay Pratt, if you can come to, if you want to come live with us, click that link at the top of the chat there and join us live here on YouTube so that we can talk about it. All right. But let's go ahead, or you can, further explain your questions in the comment section if you so choose. So here's what I want to show you. Here is what real estate investors, they're throwing away millions of dollars by not paying attention to what I'm getting ready to show you and how they can increase their profits, how they can make 200% or more ROI on their money. Are you ready? If you want to know how you can increase profits and make 200% or more ROI, please put put a number 9 in the chat. Put a number 9 in the chat right now. I want to know how many people are with me. Put a number 9 in the chat, and we'll go over what else you can do to increase profits to the point where you're making 200% or more ROI. All right. Do I know? Is it, J. Pat wants to know. Listen, all I need is one. If there are others, go ahead and put your number 9 in the chat as well. I need you to watch this. So now we are, I moved that out of the way. I need to put this back. Okay. I want to show you something here. Here's what we're being told. Don't worry about if you're making money, if you're cash flowing on this thing, don't worry about how much you're paying on this loan, because it's not you. Your tenants are paying the loan. Let me tell you something. That's a total lie. At the very least, it's a huge mistake to think about the fact that your tenant is paying this mortgage. Your tenant didn't sign a mortgage. Your tenant signed a lease agreement with you. Your tenants are paying you. And then when your tenants are paying you, then you want to keep as much money as you possibly can, because this is what we're doing with our tax strategies, right? Out of that $1,000 a month that's coming in, cash flow, you're trying to keep as much of it as you possibly can. So let's take a look at what is happening with this loan. On a $140,000 loan, you've already got equity into this property. Okay. Now let's take a look at how much interest the bank wants on that. $178,564 on a $140,000 loan. So the true cost of this property, the true cost now is not $140,000. The true cost is $318,564 if you don't do something about it. You can't do anything about the money that you borrowed. That has to be paid back. But you are certainly in control of how much interest you pay. Let me show you some things about what's going on here. I need you to also take a look at the 6.5% interest rate. Annual interest rate is 6.5%. But interest rates have always been a liar. Here's what you need to understand. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal, 127.546%. That's what you're paying. You, as the investor, that's what you're paying. All right. Turn this off. All right. So let me scroll down here. Let me see what's going on. When your tenant gives you that money, gives you that rent money, now you're going to pay the mortgage. And out of that mortgage, out of that rent money, then the mortgage is paid like this, which is 800. Remember, the mortgage is $884.90. And out of that, $126.57 goes to principal. That pays down the loan. Okay. So the things that you hear as a real estate investor, the things that you hear are, what if your tenant is a great tenant and they're paying you and they're creating equity for you in your property? That is true. They're helping you to create equity. But look at this. $126 a month creating more equity. Next month, $127. Out of the monies that they're giving you, this is how you're creating equity in the first column here, in the principal column. When you stop and take a look at it, it is so easy. It is so easy to get focused in on just the $884 and not notice how much is actually helping you and how much is actually creating wealth for the bank. Look at all this interest taken out of the money. When you get that money and you pay this mortgage, look how much of that mortgage payment that does not help you. In the very first payment, we're going to do a little bit of math here. In the very first payment, $758.33 out of your $884 that you just given to the bank is counted as interest money. And the rest that's left over pays down the loan. Can I show you a little bit of math here? So if we take our interest money, which is $758.33, and then remember that our total mortgage payment, put it over here, is $884.90. So let's divide that by $884.90. That's 85.856. So that's 86% of the monies that you're giving to the bank. 86% is going to interest. What? 86%. Or look at it this way. Out of every dollar you're giving the bank, I mean, you're making money every place else. Everything else is great. But out of the money that you're giving the bank, 86 cents out of every dollar, 86 cents out of every dollar is going to interest. I got 100 pennies. minus 86 pennies, that means only 14 pennies out of every dollar that my tenant is giving me, 14 pennies out of every dollar is going to add to equity. I think that's ridiculous, don't you? Even though you're making money otherwise, why are we forgetting about the fact that we're giving away too much money on the managing the debt? Is there a way to manage the debt a little bit better so that we can save more money or create equity faster? I'm surprised I don't have more people coming in here, coming up to the stage and asking questions, or listen, at least put them in the chat. Okay. This is your opportunity to ask questions. So here's what we're talking about. Let me get some of these ads off the screen because if you ask me, they're distracting. All right. So here we go. If you take a look at this thing, I need you to take a look at the first year and really concentrate on the fact that not only are you making cash flow, all right, but cash flow is also being created for the bank. And they're using you and me as investors to create cash flow for them. Let's take a look at the first year on this thing by looking at cumulative principal and cumulative interest. And the reason why I use Brett Whistle for this is because not only real estate investors lose track of how much interest they pay, everybody loses track of how much interest they pay. In my book, I call it interest consumption. How much interest are you consuming every single month? How much interest are you paying to make the bank wealthy? Okay. So in the first year, if we take a look at $884, that's our mortgage payment, $884.90 times 12. Out of the monies that our tenant gave us, $10,618.80. Your tenant has just given us $10,618.80 in 1 year. And this is just on this one property. What if you have multiple properties? Oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. $10,000. And out of that $10,000, how much of that $10,000 has actually helped you or created equity for you? $1,564.87. How fair is that? Put something in the chat for me. How fair is that? That out of that money, okay, only 1,000 out of $10,000, only $1,564.87 has actually created equity for you, while the bank has created a ton of cash flow, $9,053.93. And what happened for them to make that kind of money? And the reason why I use this amortization schedule, Brett Whistle, I'm going to put this in the chat so that, listen, you can do this for yourself. I'm going to copy this and we're going to put this in, paste it here. There we go. So this is online amortizations calculator. I use it for training. This is not my program. All right. This is Brett Whistle's. So $9,053.93, because when you see other amortization schedules, they leave these two columns out. They give you principal, they give you interest, and they give you principal balance, but they don't add up how much principal you collect in a year, and they don't add up how much interest you pay in a year. So we lose track of it. And folks, you don't miss what you can't measure. And we're taught not to measure how much interest we're paying even in 1 year. We're conditioned by banking not to pay attention to the interest cost. It is it is my pleasure. It is my it is uh, it is my goal to make sure that I don't care if you're a real estate investor, I don't care if you're a residential home buyer. We need to know how much interest we're paying so that we could do something about it. So this $9,000, what did I pay? What did we pay $9,000 for? Remember, here's what we're paying for. We started out at $140,000. That was our initial loan. We borrowed $140,000. And in order to pay the loan down by $1,500, that's moving it from point A, 140,000 to point B in 1 year, so that we owe 138,435. To move this loan from point A to point B costs $9,053.93. I just need to know, do you all believe that that's too much money to pay? $9,053.93. Do you believe that's too much money to pay to move the loan from point A to point B? So as you're trying to take that $5,000 and turn it into some money, and you're trying to take that money that you're making, that $12,000 a month. What are you doing with your $12,000? I'm sorry, $12,000 a year you're getting in rent? Are you looking to try to invest it, to make more money, to get more doors, to purchase more property? I need you to be, one of the things that you need to do is do this. Figure out how much of that money that's coming in, what percentage do you want to go towards wealth creation? Take money out of that $12,000 a year and come up with a plan to turn that into to take that money and invest a portion of that money. Find out what percentage you need to make sure that that happens for you. So that means there's going to be some money left over to do something else with. So as you're investing the money, the rent money that you're getting, investing it, don't forget about something else. And here's what I need you to not forget about. Don't forget about how much interest the bank is costing you. And I'm going to show you just one thing to get the ball rolling. If you make a payment here, you make your mortgage payment, the very first payment in January. The second payment would be in February. And $127.25 would go to principal. And $757.65 would go to interest. So if you have a loan and you made your January payment and you know that the February's principal payment is $127.25, here's my question. Do you have to wait till February to give the bank $127.25? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Yes or no? Do you have to give the bank that money? $127.25. Do you have to wait till February to give them that money? The answer is no. What if you gave it to them in January? Okay. Now you're going to give this to the bank in January. You're going to give that money to them in January. And now you're paid down to here, $139,746.18. You're paid down to line 2 early. And that means that your next mortgage payment for February is on line 3. Let's break down what happened and let's see what your return on investment is. Here's what happened. Every single month that you follow the bank's schedule to pay their money on time, to pay your mortgage on time, it costs this kind of money to follow the bank schedule. To get this equity, $127.25, to get this equity, you must pay the bank $757.65. You must pay them that if you follow their schedule. But what if you give them the $127.25 early? All of this money goes to principal free of charge. This $757.65, you never have to pay. You don't have to pay that. You don't have to pay it. And now, this is your new mortgage payment. That's February's new mortgage payment. So now you're dropped down to here. So what just happened? You got your $127.25 worth of equity absolutely free. You paid them nothing. So there's several ways to increase profits. Two ways are to increase profit, to increase prices. That's one way. The other, or another way to increase profits is to lower expenses. If you can lower your expenses or increase your prices, you can calculate what your return on investment is to do both. Let's take a look at what the ROI is, the return on investment for lowering expenses. Interest is an expense you are in control of. Ladies and gentlemen, interest is an expense you're in control of. Let's take a look at this. So if I invest $127.25 and my savings, I save $757.65. That's my benefit. My investment and my return on my investment, $757.65. Let's take a look at the ROI on that. Okay. So what is the ROI on that? So if you want to Google it, it's Google ROI. Here are the instructions. Take what you benefited from that, your gain, $757.65, divided by what you invested, and then multiply that answer by 100. So we're going to take $127.25 that we paid early, and then we're going to talk about where we can get that money. All right. So let's divide that by $127.25 times 100 equals 595%. I promised you at the top of this show that we're going to show you how to get 200% ROI. Ladies and gentlemen, this is 595% ROI. Let's see where that money comes from. Remember, I asked you, if you are a real estate investor, you need to know how much of that rent money every year, how much are you going to designate to go ahead and reinvest right away? And then every real estate investor I know puts a little money aside to go ahead and put it in a bank account, a reserve fund, so that they can have money for repairs and maintenance. So one way to do this, there's several ways to make this kind of money, but one way is to take that money that's sitting in the bank that you're building up. You're building up because you have designated a small percentage of your rent to go towards that reserve fund so that you can have money ready for your repairs and maintenance on your buildings. So let's just say I have some money saved up. I have $15,000 saved up and it's sitting in the bank account. How much am I making on that money in the bank account? How much is the bank paying me to keep my reserve fund, my $15,000 in reserve? How much are they paying me to keep it there? What, 1/10 of 1%? The last time you received that bank notice, Strategic Secret says zero. All right, listen. Strategic Secret says zero. He's not making anything on that. Steph. All right. Steph says, Don, thanks for the phone call as you promised last Tuesday. Your assistant was also amazing to talk to. All right. All right. Hey, Steph, guess what? Guess what? Because my assistant, because my assistant talked with you. All right. My assistant talked with you and got that information. How did you get that information about the P.I.L.L method? And then when you got that information, do you know I went on that guy's show, the mortgage guy. I listened to his show and I commented in the section, in the comment section. And do you know he brought me up on stage? Yeah, brought me up on stage, on his stage, and he got to ask me several questions about the P.I.L.L method. And we decided that he wanted to know more about the P.I.L.L method based on the answers that I gave. And he wants to look at the P.I.L.L method in depth, even the opportunity cost calculator, our AI powered cloud-based computing system that does all the math for our investors so that they can make more money. And we have you to thank for that. Thank you, Steph. We appreciate you. So what else does she say? Your assistant was also amazing to talk to. All the way I'm planning to purchase my first property, I will be planning a consultation call. Steph, thank you so much for introducing me to the mortgage guy. All right. You are great. You are great. Okay, so folks, listen, isn't are you amazed at the amount of money that can be saved with just a small amount of money that we got from the bank? I need you to really hone in on this. We got money from the bank. I got $15,000 in the bank. I'm putting a certain amount of money in the bank every single month because I have designated a certain amount of my rents to go into that account every single month. I took, in this case, I got 15 grand. Could I afford to take $127.25 out of that money, apply it to mortgage principal so that it could save me $757.65 in interest I never have to pay the bank? And not only that, Lord have mercy, when I do the calculation, it's 595% return on my money. Do you know I meet real estate investors, I mean seasoned real estate investors that say, you know, Don, why do I need to pay off a 6% mortgage? Why do I need to do anything to advance the amortization schedule on a 6.5% mortgage when I can take that money that I have and invest it and make 20%? That's what they're telling me. And the reason why they're telling me this is because all real estate investors up to this point have been led to believe that the 6% interest on their mortgage is really 6%. Yeah. When it is not 6%, the 6% on their mortgage really means right here, 127%. So as they're making money on this deal, why don't they want to make even more money by lowering the cost of borrowing the money? Now, once you understand this part, let's see where this can go. All right. Where else can it go? All right. I need, there's a link at the top. I wish I had some people to put more questions in. or come to the stage. All right. And let me see if I'm going to I'm going to do something right here. I'm going to take a little break. All right. I'm going to take a little break. I listen, I've been talking so much already. I got to get a drink of water. Okay. So we're going to play a little commercial, and this commercial has to do with E.T. the hip hop preacher using Eric Thomas, Dr. Eric Thomas. He has something good to say about the pill method. We're going to play that. I'll get a drink of water, and we'll be right back.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
All right, folks, we're back. All right. So let's dig down into this a little deeper, because we're just scratching the surface here. All right. I got 20 people in here. I've got 2 likes. Could you go ahead and click that thumbs up button for me, please? All right. So of all the people that we've got in here, click that like button. Go ahead and also subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also comment. Go ahead and make more comments, and hit that like button. We've got 2 likes so far. I'd like to get more. All right. That helps our algorithm. So watch this. Let's dig down a little deeper. All right. Because we need people to understand what's really going on. Remember, I said I have $15,000 in. I got $15,000 in my reserve fund. And let's say I have more than one property. Okay. Let's say I have more than one property. And I'm putting money into that all the time. All right. I got between 1 and many. Okay. Properties. What if I took not just $127 out? Can you take a look at this cumulative principal here and cumulative interest? At the end of 1 year, I pay this loan down by $1,564.87. In other words, it cost me $9,000 to move the loan from where I started to 1 year in. It cost me $9,000 in interest to do that. That's what it cost. But this is what I'm paying to pay the loan down. So here's my question to all of you. If I know ahead of time that I can pay my loan down to here by giving the bank $1,564.87, do I have to give it to them in 12 monthly installments like this? Do I have to? Or if I had it, could I give it all to them on line 1? Let's do the math. And here's why I do the math for you. Because there are a lot of people out here talking about real estate investing. They're talking about mortgages. They're talking about making money. They're giving you all sorts of good advice, but none of them are showing you the math. It sounds good, but they're not showing you the math. I show you the math so that you can understand that this information is real. People lie. Let's face it. People lie, but numbers don't lie. And here's what I want to tell you about this. I got $1,564.87. We started out at $140,000 on the mortgage. And over a year's time, we have given the bank $1,564.87 to pay the loan down, but we also had to pay them $9,000 in interest to do that. But what if I give them the 1564.87 up front on line one? Let me subtract $1,564.87 all at one time, not over 12 months. Does that make sense to you? Okay, here we go. That comes to $138,435.13. That's exactly what I have here on line 12. If I make my first mortgage payment of $884, take money out of my bank account where I have $15,000 sitting, and take that 1564.87 and place it on my mortgage in the same month I make my regular payment, I'm paid down to here in 1 month, not 12 months. And it doesn't cost me $9,000 to do it. It doesn't. What it does do is this. I get to eliminate or cancel all the interest between line 2 and line 12. It doesn't cost me $9,053.93 to pay my loan down to here. It only cost me $758.33. That's it. What is the difference? What is the difference? To pay the loan down. So normally the bank's way costs me $9. Now don't forget about the fact that I'm making money every single month, over $1,015 a month on this property. Don't forget that fact, that I'm cash flowing $1,015 a month. I'm getting that, but I'm not paying attention to the fact that doing it the bank's way, I'm going to give them $9,053.93 over a year. Or I could fix it so that I could give them that money up front and only pay them $758.33. So let me subtract 758.33. Oh, that's an $8,295.60 savings to do the exact same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to hear from you. I need to know from you. Is that a fantastic savings or what? $8,000 to take this loan to the same place, and it doesn't cost me $9,000 to do it. It only costs me $758.33. Now, there are people out there that says, you know, Don, I'm not really saving $9,000. I'm not really saving that. Okay, Brenda Jackson says yes. Thank you, Brenda. All right. Listen, they're saying that it's not a real savings. It's really not $9,000 in savings. So let me do this. All right, let me do this. If we pay this loan down to here, because see, here's how the doggone thing is constructed in the first place. When you get a $140,000 mortgage for 30 years, it's not one mortgage. Every time you pay this mortgage, because of how it's done, you give them $126.57. You get a new principal balance. This becomes a brand new mortgage. So they're setting us up for failure. It's not one mortgage at 6.5%. It's 360 separate mortgages if you do it their way. Every time you make a payment, that's a new mortgage. That's a new mortgage. And they take 1/12 of the interest rate and hit you every single time they can. Wow. Steph, what do you got to say? What do you got to say here? Let me see. Steph says this method works even if you don't own a multifamily or Oh, definitely. Listen, this is just, you could do it on one, you could do it on several. Listen, I got examples of that. This is a single family. Okay. What we're talking about is borrowing money at a discount. Everything else I talked about before had to do with buying the property right, okay? Fixing it up right, okay? And renting it right. Everything else had to do with the property. Now, what I'm talking about here, whether it's multifamily, whether it's 1 to 4 units, whether it's a 10 unit, a 20 unit, whether you have several houses or not, it doesn't matter. Now we're talking about just borrowing the money, what it costs to borrow the money. And we're taught, because it makes money on the front end, we don't have to worry about the back end. That's what I'm talking about, Steph. Yeah, it is mind blowing. It is absolutely mind blowing that this thing has been allowed to exist for so many years and nobody else is talking about it. Nobody. Listen, it's amazing. You know, the very first self-amortizing mortgage was in 1936, and since 1936 till now, virtually no education is being offered on how the whole thing works and how we can defeat the bank system. Not until the P.I.L.L method. I need your help. I need your help. And everybody else who's watching, I need your help in getting this message out. Can I ask for your help? I need as many people as you can get to watch this channel. That's all. Get them to watch the channel. Take the links and say, listen, you need to watch the P.I.L.L method channel. All right. And not only that, let me do this for you. Okay. Let me do this for you. And we're also we've got this on the screen. Okay. I want you to go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, and go down here to the bottom. All right. Let me get this out of the way. Go down here to the bottom where it says become an affiliate. Fill this out. Okay. Here we go. If you fill this out, all right. Hey, Steph, don't worry about it. You can always watch the replay because as soon as we're done, you can start it right from the beginning. All right. Doesn't matter if you come in late or not. I'm just glad you're here. All right. So put in your full name, your phone number, your email address, and how you want to get paid, and click submit. You will not get an instant reply, but you will get an email in about a week giving you instructions on what to do next. Okay. By sharing the YouTube channel, you can get paid anywhere from $300 to $3,000 a month just by sharing the YouTube channel. And we're going to give you instructions on how to do that. I need your help in getting this information out. Okay. So I need you to focus in on something. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings here, real estate investors. I'm not trying to, but I've been told too many times that we don't need to worry about this because it's just the cost of doing business. If this is the cost of doing business, I need you, every real estate investor that's been told that, I need you to focus in right here, right now. If you don't do something about the money that you're giving the bank, okay, I need you to hear me. The extra interest you're paying seems like a lot, but that's not the real crime here. That's not the real problem here. Can I talk to you about the real problem? Even though you can take a little bit of money out of your bank account and invest it and make over 500% return on your money, not just 200%, but almost 600%, depending on the loan. You can do that. But I need you to pay attention to this. Watch this. Look here. That's the first year. If you don't pay attention, in the second year, you only pay the loan down by $3,000 and it costs $18,000 in interest. In the third year, You've only paid the loan down by $5,000. Your tenant has given you over $30,000. And out of that $30,000, here's what you get, $5,000. If you don't pay attention to this, by the time you're in this thing 4 years, $6,900, and you're giving them $35,000. Okay? After 5 years, just 5 years, you've paid your mortgage down by $8,944.95 by not paying attention to what you could do to save interest and giving the bank $44,000. Remember when I said I had $15,000 in the bank? Remember when we said we could pay $127 and save a year? Save a month? We could give them $1,500 and knock off a year. Look at here. Remember, I got $15,000 sitting in the bank. I'm not saying that we should do this. I'm just saying if you did. You don't have to do, because there is a better way to do this. And we're going to talk about the best way to save money and so that you can cash out refi. But what I wanted to tell you right now is this. See this $44,000? If you don't pay attention, you're giving the bank more money than you need to. And that $44,000, what is the bank going to do with your $44,000? Oh yeah, I called it your. Every single dime that you receive is your money. How much of your money do you want to keep once you receive it? The bank has $44,000 of your money. As soon as your tenant gives it to you, that's your money. How much of it do you want to keep? 44,000 of it is going to the bank. What is the bank going to do with that $44,000? Okay. What are they going to do with your $44,000? Yes, they're going to invest your $44,000. And guess who doesn't get to invest it? You. I need you to do a little bit of homework. Ask some questions. Talk to a math person. Go online. Go to YouTube and say, listen, if I invested $44,000 at 6 or 7% return on my money for 20 or 30 years, how much money would I have? I'm talking about compound interest right now, ladies and gentlemen. You see, I'm not an expert on compound interest. I'm not trying to be. I want you to go and look that up. If you have $44,000, okay, and over some time, you're just putting a little bit more, you're putting a little bit more, putting a little bit more over some time where you build it up to $44,000 and you stopped as soon as you got to $44,000, and then figure out what would you make on that money in 15, 20, 25, 30 years on just that much money alone. You would probably faint, because that's money that was given away. You can't make money on money we're giving away. You can't. You're right, Steph. They would lend it out. They would lend that money out at high interest. Listen, that's exactly what they would do. They would lend that money out at high interest. And what is happening is you can't make money on it. And here is where we're giving away millions. Millions. We're giving it away. Millions. Real estate investors are leaving millions on the table because of opportunity cost lost. You're giving the money in interest away so that you can make $1,000 a month income from the property, but it costs you $44,000 in the first 5 years to be able to do that. You see, what we're being told is that this is profit. The $12,000 a year is profit. Well, it ain't. Do you know why? Because I don't know of a real estate investor that has ever been told you need to subtract all of your expenses. They know that if I put a roof on, I got to subtract that as an expense. They know that if I've got to repair the bathroom, I got to count that as an expense. If I have to replace the water heater, I got to count that as an expense. What they're not taught is the very interest you're paying on the loan is an expense, and you don't get to invest it. Watch this. I make $12,000 in a year. I paid the bank $9,000 in expenses. Out of my $12,000 that I'm getting, and I got $9,000 in expenses, okay, $2,946. When are we going to stop the madness? When are we going to stop the madness giving the bank all of that money to invest? We are a resource, whether you are an investor or you're a residential home buyer. Banking is set up for one thing and one thing only. It is not to help you make more money. They're using your properties, your expertise, the fact that you paid $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000 to learn your craft. They're taking advantage of everything that you're doing so that they can make this kind of money for the rest of your working life. And I'm not, listen, it may sound like I'm anti-bank, but I'm not. I am not anti-bank. What I am is pro-education. If you can borrow money from the bank at a huge discount, you could do so much more. Can I show you some other stuff here? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here's a real estate investor, all right, that I've had an opportunity to work with. They have $2 million in loans on commercial property. And before he met the P.I.L.L method, okay, he's got his two commercial properties, $2.2 million in loans. And the average, when he's looking at his calculating in the vacancy rate, averaging about $57,882 in rents on the two buildings coming in, office buildings. Okay, $57,882 a month. The mortgage payment on this is $14,696 on both buildings added up. That's the both mortgage payments. He's taking out of the rents that he's bringing in, he's taking $36,000 of that and putting away so he can invest it right away. He's investing over $36,000, taking $36,000 out to reinvest. That's 63% of what he's bringing in. Turn around and investing it. He's taking 11.2% of it and putting it away for repairs and maintenance on his buildings. You're right, Steph. The banks are not our friends, but they can be a great partner. They're not our friends, but they can be a great partner because they have something I need. They've got leverage that I need. Okay, I want to scale. I want to take their money and I want to treat them like they're treating me right now. They borrow my money. Then they turn around and make huge profits with my money. And then they give me pennies on the dollar for the use of my money. I want to do the same thing. I want to take their money I want to make a big old benefit like this guy here, that 2 office buildings that are generating income of over $57,000 a month. Huge, huge. But he took bank money to do it. All right. And now he's can take even the money that he's making, he's going to reinvest it. That's what I call leverage. All right. But once he read my book, he wanted to increase his leverage. He read my book and wanted to increase his leverage. Here's what we did for him. Everybody who works with us gets one of these. This is called our savings and earnings report. Everybody gets a savings and earnings report. Okay? And they get it for free. So he got a savings and earnings report. And what he learned was the amount of interest. He never paid attention to it before because he's making so much money on these buildings. Never paid attention to it before. The bank wants $1,123,000 in interest. We showed him how, okay? We showed him how you can not pay $1 million in interest. We showed him how you can pay $231,468 in interest. And by doing that, your effective interest rate is 0.67%. Now you're borrowing money. Now you're paying them pennies on the dollar for the use of their money. Okay. And what does this mean? I need you to zone in on this. Let me get in on this. Let me pull in on this. Watch this. Look at this. A 79% decrease in the amount of interest he's giving the bank. What is he now going to do with those funds he used to give to the bank? What is he going to do with that? Over the next 17 years, he can turn that money he's no longer giving to the bank into an additional $9 million. Do you realize once he read my book, do you know it finally hit him upside the head? That money that I'm giving to the bank, I could make some additional money with that. He was leaving millions of dollars on the table by just looking at the front end of his calculations and not the back end. He was not looking at how much interest he could save. $9 million. All right. Can I get some more likes here? Go ahead and click that like button. I'm telling you, we got some people in here on YouTube watching us. Go ahead and click that like button. Listen, hit that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button for me. Okay. That's going to help us get this information out. Even if you don't want to share the YouTube channel with others, by clicking the like button, gets YouTube to share it out more. Okay. And it costs you nothing. Please go ahead and hit that like button for me. All right. So if you like the information you're getting today, hit the like button. Also, give me some number 9s in the chat if you like the information you're getting. This $9 million that this guy is going to make in 17 years by not giving that money to the bank. Do you realize this is only at a 1% return on his money? 1%. What if he got 6, 7, 10, 12% return on his money? Oh my goodness. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin gave us a number 9. Brenda Jackson gave us 3 9s. Oh, Steph says, let's go ahead and get some investment going on. Listen, you want to make more money, real estate investors? Stop giving your money away to the banks. Get people to watch this YouTube channel. Get them to sign up. You sign up. And every time we're live here, we're going to be, listen, next week, we've already talking about what we're going to do for next week's show. Okay. we're already talking about what we're going to do for next week's show. Let me pull this up, and I could be able to tell you what we're going to be doing for next week's show. All right, let me see here. Oh, Friday. Friday, we're going to be talking about right now there are people waiting to buy a house because of the interest rate. We're going to talk about on Friday why you don't have to wait to buy your house because of interest rates. You don't have to. You can control how much interest you're paying. Okay, we're going to be talking about that on Friday. And on Sunday, we're going to teach you something else. Next Sunday, you've heard the phrase marry the house and date the rate. Get your house now, and then when interest rates go down, you can refinance. I'm going to show you why you shouldn't listen to that. Okay, I'm going to call the name of that show next Sunday is called Refi Fantasy. Refi Fantasy. You don't want to miss next Sunday's show. Refi Fantasy, because I'm telling you, refiing isn't what it's cracked up to be. You should refi basically for one reason and one reason only. One reason and one reason only. And in the last few minutes here, I'm going to tell you why you should refi with this information you're learning today. Okay? Here's what we're talking about. If we were to take this information we're learning, take a small amount of the money that we are using out of our reserve fund or line of credit. I mean, there's several different ways you could do this to get equity faster and cheaper. Let me tell you something. This $1,500 in equity that I'm putting on the screen right now, this $1,500 in equity, which would normally cost $9,000 in interest. Okay. We're going to go ahead and wait a minute. Let me pull this up so that we could put that on the screen. There we go. All right, got it. All right, so we got $1,500 in equity, costs $9,000 normally to get that. If I could give this to them in 1 month, I got that $1,500 in 1 month, not in 1 year. So I'm accelerating equity, equity accrual. I'm accruing equity way faster, and I'm doing it way cheaper. What if I could get, I need to show you something here. Let's scroll down. Once I get $100,000 in equity, here's $100,000 in equity. As a real estate investor, do you realize this is a 360-month loan? It takes me 309 months just to get $100,000 in equity just by paying the loan down. I don't want to take all that time. 300 months, over 300 months, that's 20 years, 25 years. 25 years. I don't want to take that much time to get $100,000 in equity. What if I could show you how you can get your equity in this property in 5 to 7 years or less without impeding your ability to take most of your money and then start investing it right away? If you can grow your equity faster, let me give you an example of what we did for the real estate investor with $2 million worth of loans. Can I show you that? I would love to show you that. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put something on the screen here. All right. And we're going to put a new loan on the screen right here. We're going to duplicate this tab. I'm going to put a new loan on the screen, and here's the payment. Okay. The payment is $87.04. Okay. $8,704. It is a 300-month loan. The interest rate is not 6.5%, it's 5%. And we're going to delete that. Now the program is going to calculate what my starting balance is. It's $1,488,906.65. This is one of the loans for that real estate investor I told you about. And here's what he's going to do now. He's not interested. Audrey, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Audrey Gordon Moore says, great, wow, great information. I thank you for that. Audrey, please click that button down below as it says, so you can give us a thumbs up on this information. Everybody who thinks this is great information like Audrey, go ahead and click that button, okay? All right, so, and she's, let me see here. Audrey is watching us on YouTube. Thank you, Audrey. We appreciate you. All right, along with Steph and along with Brenda. Thank you. All right. Kevin is here watching us on YouTube as well. So here's what we're going to do. This guy has over $100,000 in his reserve fund. I'm just going to give you some examples. This is not exactly what he's doing, but I'm showing you what is possible to do. Okay, I'm showing what is possible to do because our program tells you exactly what to do. Our program tells you exactly what to do. He's going to take, let's say, I'm going to take $30,000 out of his reserve fund and then apply it to his mortgage in 1 month. Instead of costing $73,000 in interest to pay his loan down to here, okay, it's going to cost him only $6,000 in interest to get this $30,000 in equity. That's it. So he's got $30,000 in equity. He got it in 1 month. It only cost him $6,000 instead of $73,000 to get that equity. All right. And so now he's saying, I'm putting in about $6,000 a month into my reserve fund. So for the next few months, for the next 5 months, I'm just going to pay the minimum payment. Okay. The minimum payment here, that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now he's put his $30,000 back into his reserve fund. And now he can take another $30,000 out and knock off another year. Okay. That would be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Boom. It's right about in here. He now has, in 6 months, he's got over $76,000 in equity in just 6 months by doing this. And he's leveraging his reserve funds, but he's not depleting his reserve funds. And it saved him. Look at this. Look at this. This is how much interest it would have to pay. This is how much interest he would have to pay in 29 months if he followed the bank's program to pay it down to here. He's now down to here. Instead of 29 months, he's here in 6 months. He now has over $76,000 in equity in 6 months. Okay. So for the next 5 months, he's going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he put that money back and he's going to hit it again for take off another 10 months or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. He's paid down to here, maybe 11. All right. Let's say he's paid down to here, $123,000 in equity. Okay. So he did that in about a year. In 1 year, following this type of program, he now has $123,000 in equity. Could he now refinance this? Take out 80% of that money and invest it in other doors? He got the equity, which would normally take him almost 4 years to get. He got it in 1 year. and it would normally cost him $268,000. He's paid probably around $70,000 in interest. Okay, $70,000 in interest to get to this part. And so already he's got over $100,000 in equity. It would normally cost him about $70,000 in interest, and it cost him It cost him about $70,000 in interest. It would normally cost him about $273,000 to get to the same point. So he's saving over $200,000 to get the same equity. Folks, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? That he got the equity faster and cheaper. That $200,000 he did not spend, he could now also invest later because he would have had to spend it to get to the same place otherwise. Do you see what I'm saying? He got to this place in the loan in 1 year instead of 4 years, almost 4 years. He's getting equity faster and cheaper. Now he can refinance the loan, okay? Take his cash out and invest it. So he can invest sooner. See, this is what I'm talking about. If he had to wait 4 years, anytime you have to wait to invest your money, you're losing valuable time when it comes to earning compound interest. He could do it in 1 year instead of 4. Now he can take that money and invest it into other doors or in other properties and start building on that wealth 4 years earlier, 3 years earlier than normal. That 3 years means a lot when it comes to compound interest. But what's even more valuable is the $200,000 he didn't have to pay to get it. And when you add that into the mix, he's making millions of dollars more by paying attention to how much interest he's not paying, and then taking that money and investing it as well. Folks, I hope this made sense to you today on how you can now take that money and not just make 200% return on your money. We're talking about upwards to over 500%, 600%, sometimes even 1,000% more on your money by looking at not only cash out refi sooner, not only by using interest cancellation techniques, but taking that money and investing it elsewhere. But stop giving it to the bank and then looking at the difference in not only how much money you are making, but how much money were you losing up to this point. Let's stop that. If you want to know more about this, if you want to know more, we're putting it on the screen right now. You want to start the process? You're a real estate investor, you're a residential home buyer, then what you want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is do this. Start the process right here. Start it right here and get a savings and earnings report today. Okay, so we're going to go here and right there. Okay, go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com. All right, and scroll down underneath this video of Eric Thomas and click this button. Get your savings and earnings report. There it is. Don't waste another dollar paying off the wrong debt. Get your free savings report today. There you go. Get your free savings report. How about that? We'll calculate for you the month, day, and year you'll be debt free and exactly how much interest you will save. And then we'll be able to give you an idea of how much interest that money can make for you if you don't have to give it to the bank to manage your debt. So it's 2 steps. Fill this part out. We'll verify your email address. And then once the email address is verified, we'll let you into the financial form. You put all of your debt in there, whether it's mortgages, you can put your student loans, your credit cards, your car loans, put everything in. And we'll tell you the month, day, and year you'll be debt free. One of my assistants will call you back once you submit the form. One of my assistants will call you to confirm the information. Once that information is confirmed, then you can get your savings and earnings report if you want a consultation based on this information on how you can implement the process. And we'll show you how out of the interest savings you can pay for your lifetime program with the P.I.L.L method out of the interest savings. Oh man, make your bank pay for it. I love that part. Okay, so get your savings and earnings report. Not only that, but remember this. Don't forget to sign up to become an affiliate so you can help me to get the information out. I need your help. Your family and friends need your help. Some of them, now here's the people I want to talk to. Some of them have been realizing lately that these loans are way too expensive, that no one ever taught me how this works, and they want to do something different. If they're satisfied with what they're doing, I wouldn't even bother giving this information to them. They're satisfied. I only want to talk to people who are not satisfied. They want to do something different. They want to do something better. And that's the name of my book, which we'll talk about in a minute, how to get my book on the P.I.L.L method, a better way to eliminate debt. That's why we call it a better way, because people are looking for a better way. So go ahead, become an affiliate, fill this out. Takes 15 seconds. Tell us how you want to get paid. And then you will get an email sometime in this next week giving you some additional instructions on what to do to make between $300 and $3,000 a month by sharing the YouTube channel. And you don't have to sell a thing. You don't have to sell anything. All right. So after that, also get my book. All right. Get the book today and start teaching your children, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews on how to do this. Get it as a textbook. It's worth every penny we're charging on Amazon for this book. It is the only book out of 33 million titles that even begins to talk about how to save money on interest and break this whole thing down for you. Plus, we have 3 years. We're going on our 3rd year on YouTube. There's so much free information here on how to understand how loans actually work and how to take advantage of it so that you can become a better homeowner. You can become a better investor. We're going to be doing shows on how even single moms can get a mortgage and pay it off. Single moms can get a mortgage and pay it off in 7 to 9 years. You don't have to worry. Listen, whatever position you're in and how you got there doesn't matter. You'll be able to get in a house. Listen, don't let student loans keep you from getting into a house. We're going to be covering all sorts of information in this year. And if you have an idea of what you want to see, please go to info@the-P.I.L.L method, info@the-P.I.L.L method.com, info@the-P.I.L.L method.com, and give us your show idea so that we can continue to create good content for you. All right. Go ahead and send that in to us. We would love it. info@the-P.I.L.L method.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been here just a little bit over an hour and a half. I want to thank everybody who came into Clubhouse, who transitioned over to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to don't forget to subscribe. Please hit that like button. Also, and keep on commenting on all the videos that you see. I want to thank you so much. We're going to be back here again on Friday. And when we come back, let's see here. When we come back on Friday, we're going to be talking about, next week. Oh, don't wait to buy a house. Okay. That's going to be a great show. That's going to be a great show. You can get into a house much, much sooner. I talked to a lady that says, I'll be able to get into a house maybe in 2 or 3 years. And she thought that was a great timeline for her. Okay. She was actually in her house in the next 6 months. Oh, yes. Doesn't have to wait. Okay. Interest rates don't matter. You can control your interest rate. You can create your own interest rate. So there's a lot of things you can learn. On Friday, we're going to be going over that. And on Sunday, we're going to show you how there's the banks are making a lot of extra money on refinancing, and it's not helping you. We're going to show you at least 3 ways that the bank makes money on a refi and how it's not helping you. You want to refi for certain reasons. I showed you one today. Refi to make more money. Here's what refining doesn't do. It doesn't get you out of debt faster, and it doesn't get you out of debt cheaper. So why refi? Oh, it doesn't? Well, Don, it's lowering my payment and everything. I said, well, keep this in mind for next Sunday. If you're saving money by refinancing, who has to be losing money? Thank you, everybody, for being here. All right. You've been a great audience, and I want to see you back here next Friday at 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern, and next Sunday at 8:30 a.m. Central. That's 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. And please watch the replays if you can't be with us live. We're going to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas before we go, but I want to see you all again next week and share the channel. Bye-bye, everybody.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.